Well. Me and my wife went out on a cheat day, and boy, was that an experience. So, as you know from my former videos, me and my wife are both former vegetarians slash vegans. We sort of, had kind of crossed the boundaries of each. And when I had met her, I had gotten convinced to become a vegetarian full on. I had sort of skirted with it periodically throughout my years, but never really fully committed to like a long-term plan. And when I went vegetarian, I sort of followed the Indian ideals because it's, it kind of makes sense. Like, here's a population, a very large population that's been eating a decent amount of them have been eating a vegetarian diet for quite a while. So if anyone knows how to do a vegetarian diet, it would seem to be the Indians. And so I sort of modeled my diet when I was a vegetarian around their way of eating, like lots of rice, lots of veggies, some cheese, some sauces, lots of spices. And so I used to eat that way. So it's very ironic that when we cheated, we went to an Indian restaurant, and I figured, when I was there, like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? So I ate a little bit of everything at the buffet. And gosh, only 10 minutes later did I feel like absolute shit. I got the tiredness, I got the brain fog, but it was like a special kind of tired, like it was like tired at the cellular level, not sleepy. And like it was like that horrible feeling was starting to set in as we were leaving the restaurant. And I was like, so I they say that insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results. And that's exactly what happened there, because I was eating exactly the way that I used to eat, and I had exactly the same horrible feelings. And just as we were leaving, the owner was there at the counter, ready to allow us to pay our bill. And I don't know how we really... Oh, he was offering us like some kind of punch card for coming back. And I said, well, normally we eat kind of like a low carbohydrate diet, so you really, if you give us one of those, you're really wasting your your money. We're gonna just be your worst customer, but we really enjoyed the meal. Like, I didn't want to be disrespectful. I didn't want to take that card like, it's just, we might come back in another 6 years. But then he started talking about the benefits of a vegetarian diet and started getting preachy about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. Like, am I going to have a debate with somebody? No. I'm going to let him say his piece. I'm not going to change his opinion. But as I was talking to him, I was noticing, like, the bags around his eyes were just gigantic. Like, the guy seemed like maybe he was, like, 5 or 10 years older than me. And he also had, like, that really, like, super round stomach, that diabetics get. It's just metabolic disorder ran awry. And I was just noticing the shape of his body and what was going on with his metabolism as he was telling me that, like, oh yeah, lentils are just as good as meat. It's just a substitute for meat. And, like, oh, you don't want to clog your heart with saturated fat. And I was just like, oh my God. I just let him say it, and I just kind of tried to back away. Like, I didn't want to argue with him. It's his restaurant. I don't want to be disrespectful. He fed us, but fuck. Like, I could tell that this guy is not doing well on the diet that he thinks is the absolute, like, end all be all for human health. And he was even talking about how, like, oh yeah, a lot of people in India are sick and have diabetes and heart disease because they're not educated about diet. And it's like, dude, every time I watch an Indian cooking show, like, it's like there's almost no meat in, like, probably half of what they're eating. And then there's, like, this gigantic, like, gallon size thing of vegetable oil, like, from an industrial seed oil, which is well known to be inflammatory. And, like, your country has, like, like some of the worst heart disease of any country on the planet. Like you're like gunning for like China or something like that, as for who gets the number one spot. And it's just like, this is such bullshit. It's just, maybe I realized I kind of needed that. Like, it was a walk back down vegetarian lane. It was a walk back down to, it was looking in the mirror of my former self when I had been brainwashed into thinking this is the right way to eat, even though I felt like absolute garbage. I kept telling myself, no, all these smart people in ivory towers know what they're talking about, and and it's also super compassionate for animals. And here I was standing in someone who was also brainwashed, and in addition to that, it's sort of maybe more like a kind of cultural thing to them. So there's even a deeper brainwashing about eating meat there, and I was like, hey, maybe I needed this. Maybe I needed to look in the mirror and sort of get to recoil in horror of how I should never ever eat again, and the fact that I am not healed from eating a ketogenic diet for 6 years. I still feel like absolute shit when I eat this sort of starchy vegetable oil type diet that is the food pyramid essentially, or in this case the Indian food pyramid. But yeah, man, that was a great wake up call. I'm not even going to leave a review of that place. I mean, it was pretty good food, but it's like, I don't know. Never again. And I've also, been thinking about my vegetarian leanings, and I'm still trying to sort of decondition myself as much as possible from that, because every once in a while I'll get to looking at a piece of meat that I'm about to eat and get that feeling like, oh, it's an animal, do we have to do this? It's like, yeah, well, you know what, if I don't eat this way, I get to die slowly, dependent on pharmaceutical medications. I get to take insulin, I get to take vitamin supplements, I get to get mystery health ailments again. And so why the fuck is it that I can't convince myself that I need to be in this higher part of the food chain? I'm still struggling with it, to be honest. Like, I know what's right for me. I know what's appropriate for a human being. When you start looking at biology, you will unfortunately arrive in the position that, gosh, we do really well as carnivores. So I'm still battling that. Like, I'm still battling the brainwashing, even though it's like, it's readily apparent. That's how deep it goes. This is like religion. It's almost exactly, maybe it's not like religion, maybe it is. Because what kind of person continues to eat a certain way that makes them sick, that makes them feel bad, and then run around and tell other people that it's the only way to eat? Like, yeah, you're doing some serious mental gymnastics there. To have the opposite happening to you and telling you that, that it's the way for health. I have to get over it. I have to face all the stuff that's been shoved into my brain from living as a West Coast liberal for so long. So, before we cheated at the Indian restaurant, which I'm never doing that again, we went to Cabela's, and then we also went to a couple local fishing shops and stuff. And I picked up some murdering tools, like sort of like a murder tool starter kit. I decided that I should probably start out fishing. If I'm going to kill something and consume it and make it part of my body, that it should probably be a fish, because fish are not exactly the most smart animals. So if you're going to kill something dumb. I mean, like, I'd feel really bad about killing a dolphin. But a fish, I can do that. A ruminant, that's cool. But I'm going to start out small. I'm going to start learning to fish and try to get into the mentality of where people were before all this dogma was introduced into our society. I want to work this out of my system. It has to go. I have to transform my thinking. So that's my quest for the near future, and The walk down vegetarian lane was very interesting. I hope that if you're on a ketogenic or carnivore diet or something sort of like it, you get to have that experience. You get to look through the mirror of your former dumbass self and see somebody suffering and insisting that they're not. It's powerful. You won't forget it. So yeah, I just wanted to rant that out there, and I will talk to you later. Bye.